What's up, y'all? How you doing? And welcome back to the channel. Now, I've been waiting a few days to actually talk about this because, as we all know, whenever something like this happens, you always have to wait for more details to come out before you can offer up an opinion, at least if you're a smart person. So, this past Monday, here in my home state, we had a mass shooting, or at least an attempted mass shooting. Happened up in St. Louis at a local high school. Now, I looked into this a few days after the fact. Again, you gotta wait for all the facts to come out, get the best information you can. And this guy, either 19 or 20 years old, I believe he was 19, went into his old high school up in, I believe it was St. Charles, and he had 600 rounds on him, a chest rig, about 20 magazines, and an AR-15 rifle, which to me looks pretty janky because I saw a picture from the police evidence site and a bunch of news sites. Thing didn't have a foregrip on it. Thing had iron sights, no optic. It was an old carry handle model. So something tells me this kid wasn't big up on guns, probably didn't know really what he was doing. But anyway, so after the fact, they went through the school and found out this guy had actually strategically placed magazines throughout the school, and he was definitely planning to cause a lot more mayhem than he did. What he did was, he apparently drove right up to the school, parked right outside one of the main doors, kicked his way through the bottom of a glass door, went in, and proceeded to shoot at least 2 people dead, wounded 7 others. Now, here's where it gets interesting to me. A few blocks down the street were a couple police officers in uniform who were attending a funeral. They heard the shots, went outside, got on their radios, heard what was going on, and they raced down the street, and without waiting for backup, went in. I guess either were led into the school because there was an evacuation going on, either were led into the school or charged in on their own accord, and they took this dude out. Both of them were armed. They were in full uniform. I'm guessing full dress blues. I don't know. I didn't get that specific with a lot of the details, at least in the sources that I found. But they went in, did what they're supposed to do, and they ended this guy. Now, of course, we all remember Uvalde. Uvalde is probably the biggest example of an inept police department, obviously inept and filled with cowardice, who did not do what they're supposed to do. Those guys sat outside for 2.5 hours waiting for yet another SWAT team and yet another SWAT team and yet another department to show up because, in their mind, having 40-plus officers with body armor and rifles was not enough of a numerical advantage to take out one shaky kid who was locked in a classroom. These 2 cops up in St. Louis did not give a crap. They went straight in, did exactly what you're supposed to do, what you swore to do when you put on that badge and put on that uniform, and they took care of business. And I'm proud of that. My heart goes out to you guys. Guys, if you're watching this, I know you're probably not, but just in case, hats off to you guys. Great job. But that's the good part. The bad part of this story is what really makes my blood boil, and I hear this so often when I'm talking to schools, to boarding schools, to churches especially, just any place that I have gone to offer free training services, which I do through my company, Black Wolf Firearms Training. And I offer this, and I keep hearing at least one of 2 things. One, we don't think that's ever going to happen, or, oh, we got a teacher or an employee, old Bob or Jim down the hallway used to be in the Army, whatever. I think they'll take care of it. We'll be fine. Or 2, yeah, we have a security guard. He's not armed. Yeah. What's the point of having a security guard if he's not armed, especially in this context? At this same school, this very same school, there were 7 uniformed police officers, school resource officers, in the school who were not armed. The reason they weren't armed is because the school board, the local community, and I believe the mayor all had something to say, and they thought that, that sends the wrong message. We don't want our schools to feel like a prison. I mean, we don't want to endanger the students having, our security personnel who are hired there specifically to protect the lives of our faculty and of our students. We don't want them to actually be armed and able to, effectively protect the lives of our faculty and our students. No. These 7 guys instead immediately sprang into action, moving children and faculty out of the building, trying to evacuate them away from the threat, rather than doing their job and going forward to confront the threat and eliminate the threat. Now, all this happened within 15 minutes. From what I understand, from the time the kid busted into the school and that first 911 call was made to the time those two officers showed up from down the street, went in and ended him, it was about 15, 20 minutes-ish. Let's say 20. About 20-ish minutes. So that's pretty long. Luckily, either this kid, I haven't got all the specifics, I'm still waiting for more details, but either this kid was barricaded, he was trapped in a certain area, or he got preoccupied going after whoever he was going after, and the officers were able to chase him down, or that could be it too. Maybe he was being engaged by the officers, they pinned him down before they finally took him out. Either way, this ended within 15, 20 minutes. That's when two officers were able to run several blocks down the street in uniform, get in, find out what was going on, find him, engage him, and take him out. There were 7 officers, 7 people in the building whose entire job it was to protect students from this threat. Why weren't they armed? Why weren't they trained? Why were they even there if they were not going to do the job for which they are there to do? Why? I hear this so many times from schools. We hear, oh, there's a resource officer down the street, one for several hundred students in a large campus. Oh, we have 2 or 3 security guards. But they're not armed. They're not armed. No, we wouldn't want that. I mean, we wouldn't want, the potential for them to actually be able to do anything. This drives me up a wall. That's why, again, not trying to plug my own business here, although it is a good, side effect. I offer training to churches, to schools, to daycare centers, to any place where students are kept or where students congregate. I offer training in firearms, in self-defense, in tactical engagement for free. I offer classes to the general public. I may put up a video about that here pretty soon. I'm going to start advertising hard and heavy whenever the start of the year, rather. But right now, for schools, churches, anything like that, it's pro bono. I want people to be able to protect themselves. I want people to be able to react and engage a threat whenever it comes, because this is getting all too common these days. And no, it's not the guns. The gun did not march into that school. The gun did not go around placing magazines throughout the school, I'm guessing while class was in session, with the intent of causing mass mayhem and murder. The gun did not carry itself to that school or feed itself ammunition. It did not fire itself to kill those 3 people and wound 7 more. The gun didn't do it. He did it. Now, from what I understand, this kid was a recent graduate. He graduated last year, I believe. Again, he was 19 years old. And he actually left a note. The note said something along the lines of, I've been a loner my entire life. I've never had a girlfriend. I've never had any friends. I've never basically done anything. Guy was kind of a wuss. I'm guessing he was a big-time loner. Probably had mental issues before this ever happened. Actually, long before this happened. I mean, when I was a kid, I was bullied mercilessly. In fact, I'm not ashamed to admit, when I was a lot younger, thought to do something like this crossed my mind too. But I never did it. Never acted on it. In fact, about 10 minutes after the thought crossed my mind, I was sick to my stomach. I felt horrible, because I'm not insane. I'm not crazy. This person was. The guy in Uvalde was. The guy in Buffalo was. The guy in Sandy Hook was. Those guys in Columbine were. Guns are not the problem. These people are the problem. And an even bigger problem are the people who do not acknowledge that there is evil in this world. That the devil will come calling, that the wolves are at the door. And you cannot talk nice to the devil. You cannot sweet talk a wolf. The only way to meet a wolf is with a wolf or a sheepdog. Just wanted to give my 2 cents on this. How absurd it is that there were security personnel on site who could have ended this kid within mere minutes of it happening. Could have swarmed him with 7 guns and taken him out before he had the chance to end even 1 life. But they didn't. Because they weren't equipped, they weren't prepared, and they probably didn't have the right mindset. It took 2 heroes charging in at risk of their own life against unknown assailants, against unknown odds, to do what they are trained to do. And I commend them. I commend all the teachers that saved lives that day. But I wish it could have ended sooner. This is Ozark Powler. Now I guess I'll go ahead and plug it. Black Wolf Firearms Training here in Missouri. Stay frosty, my friends.